It is a foggy London night. A man arrives at 221B Baker Street, a stranger. Before he can utter a single word, Sherlock Holmes looks him up and down and says, "Beyond the fact that you are a bachelor, a solicitor, a Freemason, and an asthmatic, I know nothing whatever about you." The man is stunned. We, the audience, are stunned. It appears to be an act of impossible magic, a parlor trick of the highest order for over a century. This is how we have consumed Sherlock Holmes as a magician. A genius whose intellect operates on a plane we can never hope to reach. We admire him, but we place him on a pedestal forever out of reach. But this admiration creates a problem. We live in an age of overwhelming complexity. We are drowning in data, facing multidimensional problems in our businesses, our careers, and our personal lives. We are desperate for clarity, for a way to cut through the noise and see the truth. And when we look for solutions, we find ourselves searching for magic. That one secret hack, that one piece of software, that one guru who promises to solve it all. We are looking for a modern-day Sherlock Holmes to simply give us the answer. This is the central thesis of our analysis today. The true genius of Sherlock Holmes is not magic. It is a system, a replicable, structured, and profoundly disciplined method for thinking. The Hindsight Lore channel exists to decode timeless wisdom for modern problems. Today, we are not here to retell the stories of Sherlock Holmes. We are here to dismantle his mind, piece by piece, and reassemble it as a practical framework. A framework for solving your most complex problems. Welcome to Hindsight Lore. To understand this system, however, we must first unlearn the single greatest myth about the great detective. The very word he uses to describe his process, deduction, is, in fact, not what he was doing at all. So, if it isn't deduction, what is it? And why does this distinction hold the key to unlocking his entire method? When Holmes says deduction, he is, to be technically precise, incorrect. Deduction is a top-down process. It starts with a general rule and applies it to a specific case. For example, all men are mortal. Rule. Socrates is a man. Therefore, Socrates is mortal. This is logical, but it is not what Holmes does. It leads to no new knowledge. What Holmes actually practices is something philosophers call abductive reasoning. Abduction is a bottom-up process. It doesn't start with a rule. It starts with a set of observations. It then seeks the most likely explanation for those observations. Look at the example again. The man is a bachelor, a solicitor, a Freemason, an asthmatic. These are not deductions. They are abductions. They are Holmes's best explanations for the data he has gathered in seconds. His worn-out clothes suggest bachelor. The legal documents in his pocket suggest solicitor. A particular lapel pin suggests Freemason. A slight wheeze in his breath suggests asthmatic. This distinction is not just academic. It is the entire foundation of the method. Deduction is about proving. Abduction is about explaining. In our complex modern world, we rarely have all the facts. We cannot deduce. We must, like Holmes, learn to abduce. To find the best possible explanation from the limited data we have. So, how does this abductive method work? I've analyzed his entire process, and it breaks down into 3 distinct, powerful pillars. When Dr. Watson asks Holmes how he knew about a particular detail, Holmes replies, "You see, but you do not observe." This is the first pillar. We all see the world. We skim headlines. We half listen in meetings. We scroll past data. Holmes, however, observes. Observation, in his method, is an active, disciplined process of data collection. Crucially, his observation is governed by one ironclad rule: data first, theory second. It is a capital mistake to theorize before one has data, Holmes says. Insensibly, one begins to twist facts to suit theories, instead of theories to suit facts. This is one of the most profound insights in all of his stories. In the modern world, we are poisoned by the opposite approach. We start with a belief: this marketing campaign will work, this employee is underperforming, this political side is wrong, and then we filter all incoming data to confirm that belief. This is called confirmation bias. It is the single greatest destroyer of good decision-making. Holmes's method is the antidote. He refuses to form a theory until he has all the evidence. He collects the mud from the boot, the ash from the cigar, the precise time of the train. He is a data agnostic. He has no emotional stake in the outcome. He only wants the data. Before you make your next big decision, ask yourself, am I theorizing before I have data? Am I twisting facts to suit my theory? Or am I, like Holmes, truly observing? This is the part that feels like magic. How does Holmes connect the mud on a boot to a specific part of London? How does he link a cigar ash to a particular brand? This is not magic. This is inference, or what we today call system thinking. When we hear mind palace, we think of a simple memory technique. This is a shallow interpretation. The mind palace is not just a filing cabinet for facts. It is a modal of a system. It's a map of how all the facts relate to one another. A novice sees a collection of random facts. Holmes sees a system. He understands that the mud, the cigar, the lapel pin, and the wheezing breath are not separate data points. They are all nodes in a single, interconnected network that defines the whole person. Let's use a powerful modern analogy. Imagine a failing company. A bad manager looks at the problem and sees one thing: sales are down. He tries to fix that one symptom. He yells at the sales team. An average manager sees a few things: sales are down, marketing costs are up, and employee morale is low. He tries to fix these three separate problems. But a Holmes-level CEO walks into the building and observes. She sees that sales are down. She also sees that the new marketing campaign launched by the CMO, who is a personal friend of the owner, is targeting the wrong demographic, which is wasting the budget. This forces the sales team to work harder for fewer results, which destroys their morale. And because their morale is low, their customer service is poor, which leads to bad reviews, which further suppresses sales. She doesn't see three problems. She sees one system that is broken. She understands the connections. She doesn't yell at the sales team. She fixes the root cause, the flawed marketing strategy. That is the mind palace. It is not just remembering facts. It is understanding the relationships between them. It is system thinking. Once Holmes has his data and has mapped out the possible connections, but he arrives at the final pillar. This is his most famous maxim. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. This sounds simple, but it is a profoundly powerful strategic tool. Most of us do the opposite. We find a theory we like, one that is probable, comfortable, or easy, and we cling to it. Holmes's method is a brutal filter. It forces you to be intellectually ruthless. You must take every possible theory and actively try to disprove it with your data. Did A commit the crime? The data shows A was in another city. Eliminated. Did B commit the crime? The data shows B is physically incapable. Eliminated. Did C commit the crime? C is a sweet old lady. It seems improbable, but the data, the mud on her boots, the cigar ash in her parlor, is consistent. C is the only one who cannot be eliminated. Therefore, must be the truth. This method protects you from your own biases. It forces you to follow the data, not your feelings. In your business, in your life. When you are faced with a complex problem, list every possible solution, then like Holmes. Use your data to eliminate them one by one. The one that survives the filter, no matter how improbable it seems, is your most likely path forward. So, we have the framework, a foundation of abductive reasoning built on 3 pillars: data first observation, system thinking inference, and strategic elimination. It's a perfect system, and yet there is a catch. Why can't everyone do this? Why did Watson, who saw the same things Holmes saw, fail to observe? The answer is that the method is not enough. You must also cultivate the mindset. A mindset so disciplined, it borders on the iron human. This is the part of the analysis where we move from the what to the why. Holmes' system is only possible because of his radical, underlying philosophy of mind. It, too, has 2 core components. In A Study in Scarlet, Holmes horrifies Watson by admitting he doesn't know and doesn't care to know that the Earth revolves around the Sunday. He explains, "I consider that a man's brain originally is like a little empty attic, and you have to stock it with such furniture as you choose. A fool takes in all the lumber of every sort that he comes across, so that the knowledge which might be useful to him gets crowded out." In the 19th century, this was eccentric. In the 21st century, this is survival. We are living in an era of infinite information. Our phones, our feeds, our inboxes are all screaming for our attention. We have become fools by Holmes's definition, taking in all the lumber, all the trivial clickbait, all the useless gossip. Our attics are full. And when we need to do real, deep, analytical work, we can't find the tools. Holmes's lesson is not to be ignorant. It is to practice strategic ignorance. It is the active, conscious, and ruthless curation of what you allow into your mind. It is the discipline to say no. No to the endless scroll. No to the meeting that has no agenda. No to the information that is merely interesting, but not useful. In the modern age, your intelligence is not defined by what you know. It is defined by what you are willing to ignore in order to protect your focus. Holmes was the original essentialist. He was saving all his cognitive bandwidth for one thing: solving the problem. Holmes is often described as cold, machine-like, and impersonal, he famously states. The emotional qualities are antagonistic to clear reasoning. We tend to see this as a character flaw, a sign of his lack of humanity, but from the perspective of hindsight lore, this is not a character flaw. It is his most critical strategy. Holmes was not a machine. He was a man who understood the danger of cognitive biases. He knew that emotion, fear, love, anger, and especially ego is the primary filter that distorts data. When you want something to be true, you will see facts that aren't there. When you are afraid of an outcome, you will ignore the data that points to it. When your ego is on the line, you will defend your theory to the death, even when the facts prove it wrong. Holmes's coldness was a deliberate system to achieve emotional objectivity. He was attempting to remove himself from the equation. He didn't care WHO the criminal was. He only cared about the data. This is the final and perhaps hardest lesson of the Holmes method. To solve our most complex problems, we must find a way to separate our ego from the outcome. We must be willing to be wrong. We must be willing to follow the data, even, and especially when it leads to a conclusion we do not like. We have the method. We have the mindset, a system for thinking, and a psychological discipline to protect it. But this is hindsight lore. We cannot leave this in Victorian London. The final question remains: how do we apply this blueprint, this Sherlock Holmes code, to the concrete, high-stakes problems of our modern world? This entire analysis is useless if it remains theoretical. Let's make it practical. Here is how you apply the Holmes method, starting today. Your company is facing a problem. Let's say customer retention is dropping. The Watson approach: panic, call a meeting, brainstorm, solutions based on gut feeling. We need a loyalty program. We need better ads. This is theorizing without data. The Holmes approach: observe data first. Stop. Do not propose a single solution. Begin collecting data, all the data. Read every customer complaint for the last 60 days. Interview the customer service team. Analyze the exact point in the customer journey where the drop-off occurs. Is it after 30 days? And 60 days? Is it tied to a specific product or a price increase? Infer system thinking, map the data. You discover the drop-off happens at 45 days, which is exactly 2 weeks after their first support ticket is resolved. You see the connection. The problem isn't the product. It's the support system. The support team is closing tickets, but the customer's problem isn't actually being solved. Eliminate strategic filter. Your theories are: A, the product is bad. B, the price is too high. C, the support system is broken. Your data has already eliminated A and B. Whatever remains must be the truth. You now know exactly where to focus all your resources. You haven't just solved a problem, you've decoded the system. You are a leader, and 2 of your best team members are in constant conflict, hurting productivity. The Watson approach: tell them to be professional and work it out. You are treating the symptom, observe. End quote. Practice strategic ignorance. Ignore the titles, the prestige, and what your friends think. Focus on the hard data. What is the exact salary? What is the average workday length? What is the measurable growth path? What is the real cost of commuting? Infer system thinking. Map the system of your life. Your stated goal is to have more time with your family. The new job offers more money, but the data shows a 12-hour-a-day culture. You see the connection. The pro-money is in direct conflict with your actual objective time. Eliminate strategic filter. Your theories: A, this new job is the key to your happiness. B, this new job is a trap. The data and observations eliminates theory A. The new job, however improbable it seemed at first, is not the truth for you. You have used the Holmes method to see past the magic of a new offer and identify the reality of the system. The enduring power of Sherlock Holmes. The reason he has survived for over a century is not the fog of London, of the violin, or the catchphrases. His power is the ultimate fantasy, the fantasy of clarity. He is a testament to the idea that no problem, no matter how complex or chaotic, is unsolvable. That beneath the noise and the mess and the emotion, there is a system, there is a truth, and that truth can be found not by magic, but by method. The world has never been more complex. We are all in our own lives, standing in the middle of a foggy London street, faced with a problem that seems impossible. The challenge is not to be Sherlock Holmes. The challenge is to think like him, to stop seeing and start observing, to stop collecting facts and start building systems, to stop clinging to theories and start eliminating what is false. And above all, to have the courage to empty our attics, set aside our egos, and simply follow the data.